What if I told you that the very same trucks that once sold for thousands above sticker price are now sitting abandoned on dealer lots, begging for buyers? Trucks that people fought over just a year ago are now collecting dust by the thousands, more than 500,000 of them, stranded nationwide. And every single day they sit unsold. Dealers are losing money fast. They're desperate, so desperate that they're cutting prices deeper than we've ever seen, offering 0% financing, stacking on freebies like bed liners, tunnel covers, extended warranties, anything to stop the financial bleeding. Some dealers are even whispering off-the-books deals to buyers who just walk in at the right time. But here's what almost nobody knows. This isn't happening across the board. It's not every truck. It's 7 very specific models that have turned into nightmares for dealers. Trucks that were supposed to dominate the market, but instead became the industry's biggest mistakes. These are the trucks you'll be able to buy for tens of thousands less than their sticker price, if you know the truth behind what's going on. And this collapse didn't happen by accident. Behind the scenes, a perfect storm has been brewing. Record overproduction, sky-high interest rates, rental companies dumping fleets, and a financing system that punishes dealers for every single truck that doesn't sell. Put it all together, and you've got a once-in-a-decade opportunity, a moment where the balance of power has flipped completely from sellers to buyers. So which trucks are the ones to watch? And just how low are dealers willing to go to move them before the financial pressure explodes? Let's break down the 7 models at the heart of this truck market meltdown. Number 1. The Ram 1500 was once one of the hottest trucks on the market, praised for its smooth ride, luxury interior, and bold design. But today, it's become the poster child for overproduction gone wrong. Across the country, Ram dealerships are drowning in unsold inventory, with some lots holding nearly 6 months' worth of supply just sitting there. That's more than double what's considered healthy, and it's turned their showcase truck into a financial nightmare. So what happened? Ram gambled on the momentum of previous years, assuming demand would stay strong no matter what. But interest rates spiked, buyers held on to their older trucks longer, and suddenly the same vehicles that once flew off lots started piling up. And when Ford and Chevy rolled out aggressive discounts and 0% financing to lure buyers, Ram made the critical mistake of sticking to high prices. That strategy backfired hard. Now, dealerships are scrambling to clear out stockpiles before the 2026 models arrive, slashing up to $12,000 off high-end trims like the Limited and TRX. Finance managers are admitting they've got way more Rams than they can move, and some are even encouraging buyers to walk away from the first offer, because chances are the dealership will call back days later with an even sweeter deal. For truck buyers, this is the golden ticket. The Ram 1500 is still a solid, capable truck, but thanks to disastrous overproduction and stubborn pricing, it's suddenly become one of the best bargains in America. But Ram isn't the only brand in trouble. Another truck, once positioned as the luxury alternative, is facing a crisis of its own, and the reason might surprise you. Number 2. The GMC Sierra 1500 was supposed to be the upscale choice, a truck that gave you all the strength of a Chevrolet Silverado, but with leather seats, fancier trim, and a price tag to match. For years, it sold that image of premium pickup successfully. But today, more than 50,000 Sierras are sitting unsold across the U.S., adding up to a 116-day supply. That's nearly 4 months of inventory clogging dealer lots, and every day they sit there, they're costing dealerships money. The problem is simple. The Sierra doesn't offer enough to justify its price. Buyers walk into showrooms, compare it side by side with the Silverado, and quickly realize they're essentially the same truck, except one costs thousands more. In today's economy, practicality wins. Why pay $7,000 to $10,000 extra for nicer stitching and some chrome accents when the cheaper Silverado gives you almost everything else? Sales consultants admit it's becoming impossible to convince customers otherwise. To make matters worse, the Sierra's design is aging fast. While Ram has leaned into luxury interiors and Ford has updated the F-150 with new tech, the Sierra feels stuck in the past. Its cabin doesn't wow buyers, and in a world where touchscreens and flashy features sell trucks, that's a death sentence. So now, GMC dealers are going into panic mode. Many are offering 0% financing, long-term payment plans, and even 10-year warranties just to get these trucks moving. In some markets, you can drive off in a Sierra that was once marketed as a premium truck for a price closer to its budget rivals. For buyers who still like the Sierra's slightly more refined look, this is a rare opportunity. you can get the luxury option at mainstream prices. But for GMC, the Sierra has gone from prestige model to clearance headache. And if you thought GMC's struggle was surprising, wait until you hear what's happening to America's king of pickups, the Ford F-150. For the first time in decades, the undisputed champ is slipping. Number 3, the Ford F-150. For more than 40 years, the Ford F-150 has been America's best-selling truck, the crown jewel of the pickup world. It was untouchable. But today, something unthinkable is happening. Over 120,000 brand-new F-150s are sitting unsold across dealer lots. For a truck that usually vanishes the moment it arrives, that's a red flag the industry has never seen before. The problem isn't that the F-150 got worse. In fact, it's more advanced than ever. But in chasing technology, Ford may have priced itself out of its own audience. The latest models are packed with luxury trims, massive touchscreens, hybrid powertrains, and even hands-free driving tech. Features that once sounded like the future now come with sticker prices that can push the F-150 above $80,000. And when you factor in today's sky-high interest rates, the monthly payments for what used to be a workhorse truck can feel more like a luxury car loan. Sales managers admit it's a shock for buyers. People walk in expecting to find a straightforward pickup for weekend projects, only to be hit with payments they simply can't justify. And even loyal customers are starting to look elsewhere. Some downsizing to the cheaper Maverick or Ranger, others abandoning Ford altogether. Dealers know they're in trouble, and they're cutting deeper than ever before. Discounts of $5,000 to $8,000 are becoming the norm, with extras like bed liners, tunnel covers, and extended warranties thrown in to sweeten the deal. A year ago, these trucks were selling above sticker price. Now, dealers are practically pleading with customers to make an offer. For buyers, the fall of the F-150 is an unbelievable shift. For the first time in decades, America's best-selling truck has become a buyer's market. But if you think Ford's stumble is big, wait until you... Number 4. The Chevrolet Silverado 1500 has always been known as the dependable, straightforward work truck, less flashy than a Ford, less luxurious than a Ram, but built to get the job done. For years, that reputation carried it through thick and thin. But today, more than 100,000 unsold Silverados are clogging dealer lots across the country. And for the first time, Chevy's Old Reliable is showing its age. The core issue? The Silverado hasn't kept up. Its last major redesign came back in 2019, and while competitors have rolled out bold interiors and cutting-edge updates, the Silverado feels stuck in another era. Walk into a Ram, and you're greeted by a massive vertical touchscreen and SUV-like comfort. Step into a Silverado, and you'll find harder plastics, smaller screens, and a cabin that doesn't wow buyers in 2025. Even sales consultants admit it's a tough sell when customers are cross-shopping with Ram or Ford. Performance hasn't saved it either. While still capable, the Silverado trails rivals in certain towing and payload ratings. In a segment where bragging rights matter, being second or third best isn't good enough. Buyers who once overlooked these gaps now see better options elsewhere, especially when Chevy insists on pricing that doesn't match the experience. As a result, dealers are making desperate moves, slashing $5,000 or more off MSRP, throwing in service packages, and even selling trucks at or below cost, just to move inventory that's been sitting for months. For bargain hunters, this means Silverado buyers now hold all the power at the negotiating table. The Silverado may still be a tough, dependable truck, but in today's market, it's become a symbol of what happens when you fail to evolve fast enough. And if Chevrolet's biggest truck is struggling this badly, imagine what's happening to the one brand that never truly found its footing in the first place. Nissan's Titan. Number 5. The Nissan Titan was supposed to be Nissan's big swing at the American full-size truck market, a challenger to the Ford F-150, Chevy Silverado, and Ram 1500. But instead of breaking through, it quietly became one of the slowest-selling trucks in the country. Now, with Titan production officially ending, you'd think demand would spike as buyers scramble for what's left. But the reality is the opposite. Dealerships are sitting on a 150-day supply of Titans they can't give away. The Titan's downfall comes down to one brutal truth. It never had an identity. Ford dominated towing. Ram leaned into luxury. Chevy banked on reputation. Nissan, meanwhile, offered just another truck with no unique edge. Over time, the Titan felt more outdated with each passing year, missing hybrid options, lacking cutting-edge tech, and falling behind in towing and fuel efficiency. Buyers didn't just pass on it. They forgot it existed. And now, the final nail in the coffin. Nissan is exiting the full-size truck market entirely. That decision crushed buyer confidence. Nobody wants to spend $50,000 or more on a truck when the brand itself has walked away. What happens to resale value? What about long-term support? Those questions drove demand even lower. For dealerships, it's a nightmare. Managers openly admit they're taking $10,000 to $15,000 off MSRP, stacking 0% financing on top, and throwing in every incentive possible just to move these trucks. Some are even selling at or below cost. One dealer confessed, "If someone made a halfway decent offer on a Titan, my manager would take it. We just need them gone." For buyers who plan to keep a truck long-term and don't care about resale, this is a once-in-a-lifetime bargain. But for Nissan, the Titan will be remembered not as a breakthrough, but as a cautionary tale. And if Nissan's truck is fading into obscurity, wait until you hear about the Jeep Gladiator, a pickup that looked unstoppable at launch, but is now piling up on lots for very different reasons. Number 6. When Jeep launched the Gladiator, it looked like a guaranteed hit. A rugged Jeep with the bed of a pickup, the perfect mix of off-road adventure and everyday utility. At first, buyers lined up, but fast forward to today, and Gladiators are piling up on lots, with sales plummeting by more than 50% since 2021. Dealers admit they're sitting on rows of Gladiators collecting dust, and buyers just aren't showing up anymore. The biggest problem is the price. The Gladiator is one of the most expensive mid-size pickups on the market, often costing thousands more than rivals like the Toyota Tacoma, Ford Ranger, or Chevy Colorado, all of which deliver better daily driving experiences. The Gladiator may crush trails, but on highways it feels rough, noisy, and less fuel efficient than even some full-size trucks. Buyers test drive it expecting adventure and leave realizing it's a compromise they don't want to live with every day. Worse still, Jeep hasn't given the Gladiator any meaningful updates since it launched. Meanwhile, Toyota completely redesigned the Tacoma, Ford introduced a new Ranger, and Chevy refreshed the Colorado. Each one came with sharper tech, improved efficiency, and better towing. The Gladiator, it's still the same truck Jeep rolled out years ago. That stagnation has forced dealers to slash prices. Across the country, Gladiators are being offered with $8,000 to $10,000 discounts, especially on trims like the Rubicon and Mojave. Some dealers are even advertising cash rebates and extended warranties to sweeten the deal just to move volume. For the right buyer, someone who craves off-road adventures and doesn't mind the rough ride, the Gladiator can be a steal right now. But for most people, it's become an overpriced niche truck that no longer makes sense. And if Jeep's off-road pickup is in trouble, the situation only gets more shocking with the next one, a truck that was supposed to redefine the industry, the all-electric Ford F-150 Lightning. Number 7. The Ford F-150 Lightning was supposed to change everything. It wasn't just another truck. It was marketed as the future of pickups, a bold leap into an all-electric world. When it launched, demand was so high that Ford couldn't build them fast enough. But just a couple of years later, the Lightning has gone from game-changer to shelf-warmer. Across the country, dealers are staring at rows of unsold Lightnings, and Ford has already slashed production in half, because the reality is simple: buyers aren't biting. The biggest problem is trust. On paper, the Lightning boasts a range of up to 320 miles, but start towing or hauling real truck work, and that range can collapse by nearly 50%. For traditional truck owners, that's a deal breaker. Imagine needing to tow a trailer across state lines and being forced to stop for hours just to recharge, something a gas-powered F-150 would breeze through. Then there's the price. Lightnings start around $55,000 and climb past $90,000 for higher trims. At a time when buyers are already spooked by interest rates and high payments, the Lightning feels like a risky gamble. Worse, resale values for EVs have been plummeting, making customers nervous about owning one long-term. Even dealers themselves admit they don't want to stock them because they're too difficult to move. Behind the scenes, Ford is losing billions on its electric division. To stop the bleeding, they've started offering $15,000 to $20,000 discounts below MSRP, plus government rebates, plus dealer incentives. One California dealer even admitted, "Ford is basically paying us to keep these trucks on the lot, and still, customers won't take them." For bargain hunters, the Lightning might be the deal of a lifetime. You could drive away in a $90,000 truck for closer to $70,000. But for Ford, It's a sobering reminder that not every gamble pays off. What was supposed to be the truck of the future has become the hardest sell on the lot. So with all 7 of these trucks piling up unsold, the question is, what happens next? Because behind these fire sale deals is a much bigger crisis brewing, one that could push truck prices even lower in the months ahead.